Hello, my name is Daniel. Thank you for being here with me today. If you enjoy real, heartbreaking cheating stories from Reddit, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and leave a comment to share your thoughts. It really means a lot to me. This is a story that's been haunting me ever since I read it, about a man who gave everything to the people he loved, only to find that love had been returned with years of betrayal. Just a few weeks ago, Everett Rowan felt like the luckiest man in Somerfield, New York. He wasn't wealthy, not by Wall Street standards, but he had taken over his late father's small manufacturing firm and made it thrive. The bills were paid, the books were balanced. He had plans for a quiet, early retirement, maybe at the cabin near Lake Avondale. His father had taught him how to build something steady, a quiet man who never took a salary. Everett's dad had hidden his wealth well. When he divorced his second wife, she walked away with nothing. Everett didn't dwell on it much. He wasn't like his father. The old man was a womanizer to the end, but Everett was steady, loyal, a family man. At least that's who he thought he was. That pride he carried in his family, it feels like a curse now. He replays every memory with Marin, his wife of over 2 decades, and their daughter Leah, searching for signs he missed, signs of disloyalty. Even Leah, his sweet, bright Leah, was the one who shattered the illusion. It started on a warm Friday morning. Everett had taken the day off to prep his car, a 2009 Mustang GT, for the Memory Lane car show. He was mowing the lawn early, the Mustang tucked safely under its cover, waxed to perfection. Leah pulled into the driveway and offered him a quick hug before heading to the back patio to speak with Marin. Everett noticed the tension immediately. He assumed Leah needed money again, but the tone was too sharp, too urgent. He edged closer, his hands still covered in lawn clippings, just in time to hear it. "Marin, how could you be so stupid?" Leah hissed. "Come on, Mom. It was just one time," she snapped back, defensive. "It wasn't even that different, just more exciting." Everett's heart dropped. "I'm not leaving Nate," Leah continued. "He's just boring sometimes. He's your husband, and he loves you. If you're bored, you fix it. You don't destroy it." Everett shut off the mower. The silence was deafening. They both turned. Marin's face twisted in fury. Hers was hardened with defiance. "Everett, talk some sense into your daughter," Marin spat. "She got drunk at some party and slept with a stranger while Nate was working overtime." "Wow, Mom," Leah barked. "Why not scream it louder? Maybe the whole neighborhood didn't hear yet?" Then she turned to Everett, her voice suddenly cruel. "You and Dad are still together. Why does it matter?" It was a knife, straight to the chest. Marin went pale. Leah caught the shift in his face and blinked. "Did you know?" she asked, her voice faltering. "She told me you did." Everett looked straight at his daughter. "Burn this image into your memory," he said cold, "because that's how Nate will look when he finds out, and you need to tell him tonight." Her expression cracked. "Dad, if it's going to hurt him like this, I can't." "Then you'll lose him," Everett warned, "and if he hears it from me instead of you, it'll be worse." Marin tried to intervene. "Everett, please, let's talk." "I treated you like a queen," Everett cut her off, his voice rising. "Name one thing I didn't give you. And now I find out my wife's a liar and my daughter's following the same path?" "I know I hurt you," she whispered. "Hurt me?" Everett's voice cracked. "I built my life around you, around this family. Every sacrifice, every hour worked was for you two. And now I see it was all for nothing." He paused, collecting himself, then looked Marin in the eye. "Who was it?" She hesitated. Tears pooled. "Does it matter?" "It matters to me," What are you going to do? I'm going to find him and break him. Her voice dropped. He's married too. They have problems. And we don't now? They both flinched. He looked ready to snap, and honestly, he was close. I'm still going to the show tomorrow, he muttered. I'll come with you. We can talk on the way. No, you're not coming. Don't call me honey. Call me Everett. I don't walk beside people who betray me. The next time we meet, we'll be in court. Marin reached for him. Please, I'm sorry. Can't we just talk? If you say sorry again, I swear I'll lose it. She fell silent. Everett turned and walked away. After the show, I'm filing for divorce. Be gone when I get back. No, she cried. I love you. I don't want a divorce. And I didn't want to be married to a liar. But here we are. Not a single team picked Todd, not in any round. No callbacks, no offers, not even a scout's follow-up. He lost his agent and started calling in favors. At one point, he even asked me to reach out to a Canadian team for him. I actually got someone on the phone in Ottawa. I'm calling for Todd Maddox, I said. The man replied flatly, Who? And hung up. It wasn't long before I saw Todd's scouting profile. Brutal. He had the size, sure, but none of the speed, none of the sharpness. Teams had years of film showing him getting left behind, becoming more irrelevant with each snap. He wasn't blocked anymore, just ignored. And with no degree, no eligibility left, and no backup plan, Todd unraveled. He stopped going to class, started drinking, and disappeared into his own spiral. Marin didn't seem crushed. In fact, she told me, in a way, it's a blessing. Now I don't have to leave you. That hit me harder than I expected. I'd never truly believed I'd get to keep her. Even when she said she loved me, some part of me didn't believe it. But now, it was real. And yet, love only means something if you're willing to fight for it. Don't look at me like that, Everett, she said gently. I told you I love you. But I love him too. I didn't think it was possible, but I swear I do. I said nothing. I'm still marrying Todd, she whispered. Because that's what everyone expects. If I don't, it's like my whole world falls apart. She didn't sound convinced. Over the last 2 years, she'd spent far more time with me than with Todd. He was barely around, distracted, cheating, making promises no one believed. Still, I told myself if I stayed patient, she'd choose me. I never planned to let her go. I loved her too much. But when you love someone that much, you don't force them. You just want them to be happy, even if it kills you. So I didn't push. I just stayed and waited and hoped. Deep down, I dreamed of a future where I could give her everything. But I left it to fate. Rolled the dice. Somehow, I got lucky. It wasn't overnight. It was slow, painful. The first real shift happened when they didn't move back to Missouri. Todd didn't want to return as a failure. They stayed in Illinois, but he couldn't find stable work. He wasn't good at anything outside football. He tried coaching, security, warehouse shifts. Nothing stuck. He kept eating like he was still training, but without the training. In less than a year, he looked like a marshmallow. The only upside? I got to see Marin whenever I wanted. She never said outright that Todd was falling apart, but she told me she loved me every single day. Then one afternoon, I got a call at work. Marin was crying so hard I could barely make out her words. She begged me to come pick her up. I'd never been to their apartment, but it was only an hour from the plant. By then, I'd been running the business for 3 months. After college, I'd taken a job outside the family company, My way of proving I could make it without the Rowan name. My brothers didn't understand. Jeff became a high school teacher. Michael wanted to write books. Neither wanted the business, but both were happy to collect quarterly checks from it. When Dad got sick, it was clear someone had to step in. I had the most experience, the most time spent in the warehouse and with the crew. Eventually, Dad pulled me aside. "You're wasting your time," he said. "You're just another cog in someone else's machine, but you could run your own. This business is yours. Take it." He lived long enough to meet Leah and to teach me everything he knew: how to work the trust, how to survive a divorce without losing a penny, how to hide wealth in plain sight. It was smart, not exactly ethical, but he swore no woman would ever take him for a ride again. Still, nothing prepared me for the sight of Marin sitting on a bench outside her apartment, suitcase by her feet, sobbing. She ran to my car the second I pulled in. Todd stuck his head out of the window. "Take her," he barked. "She's worthless. Just wanted to live off me. She's your problem now." Then he slammed the window. I never saw him again. On the drive back, Marin told me everything. She'd worked 2 double shifts in 24 hours, came home, and found Todd in bed with some heavyset blonde. He told her she was an idiot for thinking he'd ever change, even bragged that he was saving money by having sex at home instead of getting a motel. The other woman was wearing Marin's robe, reading her bridal magazines. That broke her. She packed, called me, left. Since I had to go back to work, we stopped for lunch and ate in my office. I offered to fly her back to Missouri, but she said no. Just a week. Time to think. That afternoon, I gave her my credit card. My assistant took her shopping. I moved her into the guest room. She never left. It felt like she'd always been there. And for a while, everything felt whole. Sylvia buzzed my office. "You've got a call." Her voice was flat but cautious. Sylvia had been with me since I took over Rowan Industries. She knew my boundaries, especially when it came to Marin. I hadn't yet told her to block the calls, but I figured I'd have to soon. Thinking it might be a client, I answered without hesitation. "Everett Rowan." "It's Marin," came the reply. Her tone tried for lightness, but the strain behind it was obvious. "Did you really just call to ask if I've hired a lawyer?" I didn't respond to her game. "Yes, I did. That's what people do when they're getting divorced." She voice sharpened. "I can't believe you're going that far." I said, "Your father already gave me the whole playbook. You're planning to stay in the house, drag it into court, push for counseling. He laid it all out." "Everett, listen. This is—" I snapped. "Don't call me that. Save the pet names for the man you've been sleeping with." Silence. Then in a quieter voice, she tried again. "I only stayed in the house to talk. Dad and I thought that if we gave it time, maybe you'd calm down." I let the pause hang. "The only thing I asked from you was the truth. I asked who he was, and you said nothing. You protected him over our marriage." Her voice cracked. "I didn't mean to." I said, "I hope it was worth it, because when this is over, you're getting exactly what the law says, not a penny more." "You don't mean that," she whispered. "Ask me anything. I'll tell you everything. Just please don't do this." "I don't care anymore," I said. "My lawyer says it's time to let go. I agree. I want a clean slate." "That's what I want too," she rushed out. "A fresh start. We can rebuild." "You don't get it," I said firmly. "I want a new beginning without you. I need someone I can trust, someone who doesn't lie and pretend love means something." "We're not done, Everett," she said quickly, desperation bleeding through. "We've been through too much to throw it all away over something like this. We have a daughter." "Goodbye, Marin." I hung up. 3 hours later, Leah called. "Dad," she said quietly, "why are you doing this? Doesn't Mom deserve better than this after all those years?" I took a breath. Leah, when someone lies to their spouse for decades, they don't deserve grace. They deserve consequences. I never mistreated your mom. I loved her from the beginning. I was loyal. If anyone deserves better, it's me." She went quiet. I pressed. "Let me ask you something. If it had been me, if I'd been the one sneaking around with secretaries or clients, whose side would you be on?" She hesitated. "Probably Mom's, but I'd still want you two to stay together. No kid wants their parents to split." "Then why aren't you on my side now?" I asked gently. "I didn't cheat." There was a pause. "Maybe because it feels like my fault," she whispered. "If I hadn't said anything, you never would have found out." I asked, "You mean I'd still be living a lie? How is that better? Why didn't you tell me sooner? Was I a bad father?" "No, never," she said, her voice trembling. "I should have told you, but Mom said it was over. She said you already knew. I didn't want to hurt Eric. He looks at me differently now. Even if we fix things, it won't be the same." "You're lucky it was just once," I said. "Eric's angry, but he loves you. He might forgive you, but you still cheated. That wound doesn't just vanish." "I was drunk," she sobbed. "Leah, stop. You're an adult. You knew better. If you're married and your husband isn't around, you don't get drunk. And you told your mom you weren't that drunk. You said you wanted to do it again. Don't lie to yourself." She sniffled. "I've learned my lesson. I didn't realize how much Eric does for me. How tired he is, working overtime just to keep us going. I see it now." "I'm glad," I said quietly. There was a moment of silence. Then she asked, "What about Mom? She wants to fix things too." "This is different," I replied. "Your mom wasn't confused. She wasn't drinking. She knowingly betrayed me for years. I don't see a way back from that." "She loves you," Leah said softly. "I don't think she can survive this without you." "That's not my problem anymore," I said. "She has someone else now. Let him take care of her. I'm not going to be the third wheel in my own marriage." "I hope things work out with Eric," I added. "Take care of yourself." 3 days later, I saw Maren again, this time across the table at my lawyer's office. She was dressed up, hair freshly styled. Still beautiful, still familiar. "What are you staring at?" she asked. I met her eyes. "Just thinking how beautiful you still are, and wondering how I'm supposed to get over you." "You don't have to," she said softly. "I do," I replied. "It'll take time, but I will." "But feelings don't just vanish," Maren whispered. "Our lives were already planned out before you came along, and suddenly you were the other man." She looked down at the blanket pulled over her lap, fingers twisting it like a lifeline. "Even before we slept together, it felt like cheating on Todd. You could have had me any time," she said, voice barely above a breath. "I would have said yes, but you didn't. You waited because you were too kind." I said nothing. "Things with Todd kept getting worse. He was cheating. We were broke. I hated that life. But when I called you, you came, like always. You made me feel like I mattered." Her eyes shimmered with tears. "I never lied to you, Everett. I loved you. I still do. I wanted everything. Marriage, a home, growing old together." Her tone shifted, defensive now, wounded. "And don't look at me like that. You're still my husband. I can call you whatever I want." She tried to smile. It faded as quickly as it came. "I had our wedding all planned. Then Todd called, said he was sorry, that not going pro destroyed him, that he needed help, and that I owed him one last chance." She looked away. "I told him about you. He got angry, hung up. A few days later, he called again, calmer this time. Said he gave me a chance, so I should give him one too, and I did." I closed my eyes. "We started talking, eventually sleeping together, not because I wanted to, out of guilt. He made me feel like I used him, like I owed him, and part of me believed it. She wiped her eyes. You gave me money. I bought that blue dress, showed it to you, but I gave the rest to him, rent, groceries. He depended on it. He made me feel like everything wrong was my fault. She sniffled. It wasn't every week, maybe once or twice a month. I always made him use protection. That's why you worry about Leah. I get it. You should do the test. And when it proves she's yours, I hope you apologize to her. Her voice trembled. I cut ties with Todd after Leah was born. That's when I finally saw him for who he really was. Everett, he never loved me. He liked blondes. He only stayed with me because I helped him pass school. He came back for your money. I was too blind to see it. She looked broken. One day I brought him cash, showed up early. Leah was just a few months old. We hadn't had sex in months. He looked at me and said I looked like a whale. I heard him through the door laughing with some woman. I listened as he said, I only put up with her for the money. She's not even my type. Dumb, boring in bed, too emotional. A minute later, that woman walked out, fat, missing teeth. She looked at me and smiled like she'd won something. Then Todd stepped out. I stopped answering his calls, but he started threatening me. Said he'd tell you everything. Her voice shrank. So I stayed, once or twice a month. It wasn't like what we had. It was just a cost. For every 10 times I made love to you, I owed him once. Most of the time, I just lay there, thinking about groceries, about laundry, about what to cook. You were my husband, Everett. I loved you with everything I had, but a part of me couldn't let go of him. I thought I owed him that. She looked up at me, eyes hollow. Now you know everything. I didn't respond. I turned and walked out. Marin's scream echoed behind me, raw and desperate, but I didn't look back. 25 years is a long time, but I still remembered the rundown part of Summerfield where that apartment was. I drove until I found him, Todd, slumped on a crumbling porch step, bloated, unshaven, dragging an oxygen tank behind him. I got out, called his name. He looked up, his face foggy with recognition. A woman beside him frowned. "How's our girl?" he asked, grinning through missing teeth. I rushed him. One punch to the gut dropped him. His oxygen tube popped free, and he gasped like a drowning man. I kicked him again, and again. His moans were muffled by pain. Then everything went black. I woke up to the sting of smelling salts and handcuffs. A paramedic hovered. Apparently Todd's new wife had cracked a wooden plank across the back of my head. The cops pulled me up. I waved off the hospital. One officer drove my Mustang. "Scratch it and I'll sue you," I warned. They cuffed me to the steering wheel. A second officer sat shotgun. "What kind of man attacks a diabetic with lung problems?" he asked, disgusted. I told him the story. Years of betrayal, blackmail, silence. "Tell it to the DA," he said. "You might walk." I called my lawyer. 2 hours later, I was released. No charges. Marin had confirmed the blackmail. In exchange for Todd dropping his complaint, I dropped mine. Fair enough. Todd had nothing left. He wouldn't make it another year. But I still had to face what Marin had done, and this time I'd face it on my terms. Emily showed up at the cabin just as the sun started to set, wearing the old Rowan manufacturing sweatshirt she'd swiped on her last day in Summerfield. She stepped out of her hatchback, her smile tentative. She said, "Thought you might still be here. You never mentioned the Mustang." I straightened up from the hood, startled. "You found me." She said, "You told me more than you realized, taking slow steps toward me. The town, your business, your story, wasn't hard. I said, "You left." She said, "I know, and I regretted it before I reached the state line. I thought it was too soon. I'd just gotten out of something awful, but 6 hours on the road couldn't quiet my head. The truth is, I hadn't felt that safe, that seen, in years, and it scared me." I didn't move, unsure if I was dreaming. "So I turned around," she said, "because I realized something. You never said you loved me, never asked me to stay, but your eyes told the truth. You didn't want me to leave." She wrapped her arms around me, pressing against me. I didn't pull away. "I'm serious about you," I murmured. She leaned back, reading my face. "Good, because I'm serious about you too." We stood like that, quiet. Then I said the words I'd avoided. I called off the fight, signed over the house, the car, 15 grand. I didn't want to drag Marin through court. I just wanted it done. Emily studied me. "Does she still live with you?" "No, not anymore." "And you're not doing this because you still love her?" "I forgot about her the moment I met you," I said. That was all Emily needed. In real life, endings rarely come wrapped in closure. Sometimes the apology never comes, the wrongs aren't righted, and you're left to rebuild on uneven ground. Everett's story is a reflection of that truth. After decades of loyalty and betrayal, he doesn't get a cinematic payoff. What he gets instead is something quieter but more honest. Peace, earned not through revenge, but release. Many of us stay in broken relationships out of guilt, fear, or hope that things might return to the way they once were. We convince ourselves we owe it to the history, to the shared years, to the children. But sometimes the bravest thing we can do is let go, not out of anger, but out of love for ourselves. If you're in a relationship that's become toxic, where trust has been chipped away piece by piece, it's worth asking, am I staying because I'm still loved, or because I'm still needed in ways that hurt me? Healing starts with clarity. Protect yourself emotionally and financially. Keep records. Talk to someone you trust. Therapy isn't weakness, it's armor. And if you're lucky enough to find someone new, someone kind, patient, and honest, don't let fear of the past ruin what the present is offering. You deserve softness. You deserve laughter that doesn't come with apology. Sometimes the best revenge is refusing to carry the weight of betrayal. Let the past stay behind you. Choose peace. Choose forward. Choose you.